My guest today is Vincent Hyland. Vincent lives in Derrynane, County Kerry, allegedly one of the finest beauty spots in Ireland. And I have to say, in all my years of playing in the ICO, I haven't ever been to visit Kerry. After watching Fear's Voyage, the next in the ICO's I Create Online series, once lockdown is over, I am going to have to visit for sure. Vincent is a multimedia artist, a coastal ecologist, an environmentalist, a wildlife guide, a photographer, a wildlife and underwater filmmaker, and an educator. And on top of all that, he's also a musician, so an ideal collaborator for the Irish Chamber Orchestra. Vincent, hello, and thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me today.
It's so great to see you. Absolutely fantastic. I'm delighted to be part of this and to be interviewed. I can't wait just to tell you a little bit about all that's going on down here in beautiful southwest Ireland. A place called Derrynane, a place I call home now.
There are so many things I want to ask you about this stunning film, but in today's internet world, we've only got 10 minutes. So, firstly, your photography. It seems to have a musical flow to it, and I wondered a little bit about how the music inspired you to put this work together.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I guess I have to go back to my grandparents. My grandfather was a full-time musician. He lived in a very famous place called the Liberties in Dublin, and he played the French horn, but he also played the piano. And so when I was a kid, he used to lay his hands on top of my little hands, and we tinkle away on the piano. And I always remember there was a stuffed pheasant bird on top of the piano, and if I started getting a bit boisterous on the keys, the pheasant used to move across the piano. So I got this incredible connect, I suppose, with my grandfather. And my father then became a mechanic, but he also played piano, so there was always sing-songs and music in our house. And when my sister bought her first guitar to learn as a young teenager, she kind of left it to the side of the room in the house, and of course I used to sneakily pick it up. And from there then I started to play, and I ended up busking in Dublin, in the streets of Dublin in the 70s. And I just love this idea of being able to play. But then I saw a film, I guess in 1979 or 1980, Luc Besson and Eric Serra, the composer, and together they made this film called Atlantis. And there was no voiceover. It was just music and images of underwater. And I just said, wow, this is what I'd love to do. I was so influenced by Jacques Cousteau in my early part of my life, and I always wanted to go underwater. But I wanted to kind of look at it from the point of view of the musicality of the scenes that were unfolding before my eyes. And that's really how I got to take the pictures, in the way that I take them. I love this idea of being more arty, I guess, with subject matter that tends to be overly scientific and perhaps maybe a little bit too scrutinized for my liking.
The music is about a voyage around the Hebrides, and here we've got Fear's Voyage around the coast of Kerry. It's an amazing film. There's some amazing, just awe-inspiring photography.
Thanks
but
very much.
I mean, I'm really lost for words, to be totally honest. But there must have been some incredible challenges, not only of making the film, but making the film to music. So what came first? Did the music come first, or did the film come first? How did you put it together?
I guess the music came first in this case, and I had an idea that I was tinkling around with, toying around with, which was I've always kind of written small bits of poetry to music that I composed myself, and these poems were about an animal's viewpoint of their world. So in this case, the gannet, the idea that the gannet, the queen Fia, she wanted to take us on her journey as she went through, flew up high and then kind of went through all of these beautiful scenes. And I've seen in my own work, because I've been out on the sea a lot, filming marine wildlife in particular, I've seen this interaction between gannets and dolphins. And sometimes, the gannets will follow the dolphins, and sometimes the dolphins, believe it or not, will find the gannets, because when gannets dive en masse underwater, they make all of this noise. So the dolphins can see this, but they can also kind of come out of the water and kind of look, and they can see the gannets up there. So they say, I'll follow them, because they know there's this association. So what I wanted to do with the piece was to do something that was truly representative of the Hebridean, and bring together a story from the gannet's perspective, and let her take us with the music in tandem on this beautiful journey, both above the water and then to dive deep under the water, and to show us humans what's really there, what beautiful animals are actually there lurking in the depths that we don't really necessarily get to see.
Now, you mentioned story. The Irish are world famous for telling stories. And I love the way that you've used the music and the film, and then you've made a story in this film. And as you say, you've used your own kind of poetry almost to tell that story. There's something very moving about seeing this amazing nature. But I wonder, is there a message that you want people to take away from this story?
I think to, if anything, to look at the natural world in a different, through different glasses, through a different viewpoint. So much so that I guess it's always about us and the environment. It's never really about the environment and us. And to represent the environment in this way, it's not necessarily novel, but it certainly is a way of giving people a different viewpoint, to say that maybe it almost brings empathy to any piece, and particularly in regard to this, it possibly brings a connect that otherwise we mightn't get, because as I said to you, sometimes it can be black and white in terms of how we treat nature, how we're treating the world as we go along, and particularly from now on and into the future. And perhaps maybe music and art and the combination of film through the voices of animals is something that may work. It might connect. So that's really the message I want to get, is that look at it from the point of view of the animals and see how they might connect with us.
It's just an incredible thought that we're looking at the world a different way round. Now, at the moment, Still Hope, the film made by Dominic Koshitsky and Simon Thompson, is almost around 70,000 views on social media. Now, I know it's not a competition, but are we going to beat this with Fia's Voyage?
Well, I'd certainly like to equal it. Wouldn't that be nice? That's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal. I think that we're engaging with content now in so many new and exciting ways. And I think it's kind of like the internet for me, and broadcasting, and being able to do this yourself is a kind of like a democratization. It's bringing the best of us out there, and it would be phenomenal to think that so many people would watch Fia's Voyage and maybe even surpass what's gone before. Who knows? I mean, I just want to see us connect in these ways, and for me it's such a fantastic opportunity to have worked with the ICO in this way, and I'm hoping that we can do more.
For sure. Vincent, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you, and for certain I'll look you up when I come to visit the kingdom. Now, Fia's Voyage will be released on all the ICO social media channels on the 25th of March. It's a film made by Vincent Hyland, narrated by Una Keogh, and inspired by the ICO recording of the Hebrides Overture conducted by Jörg Widmann. My guest next week is Catherine Spencer, who played the clarinet solos on the recording. If you've got any clarinet questions, let me know and I can put Catherine on the spot. Take care.